back, folks. Nash Taters here, and we're gonna get ready for another exciting video in War of the Visions. So today we're gonna talk about something that everyone's already been doing. We're gonna talk about raids. Looks like this is a pretty successful release of content in this game. So far, I'm actually quite enjoying it. The only complaint I have for this is that it is kind of obnoxious that I have to play my normal daily grind, and literally every one or two maps that I'm clearing, the raid pops up. And it doesn't give me the option to actually ignore the raid. It simply takes me to the raid content. So I guess it's not too big of a deal since it is an event that only lasts to the 16th. The rewarding system is pretty cool. Overall, if you participate in other people's battles, you get your... it has a system of determining how many medals you get and how much gold you get. Of course, victory battles also. It's kind of neat that you can either solo with one friend or 3 friends or randoms. And I actually quite enjoy the options that they give us. But the big thing really what I want to talk about is the ranking rewards. As you guys probably already looked at. First place gets 3,000 gems, which is really solid now. Let's be brutally honest. Those are definitely not going to be probably for free-to-play players. In fact, I venture to say the first, say, maybe 1,000. Even maybe top 5,000. Actually, probably 1,000. Are going to be always reserved for probably whales and heavier spenders. For the rest of us, I think this is more realistic right here. This stuff here. I think it's really easy to probably get 600, because right now my main account is sitting at, I think, 21,000 plays. So as of now, if I just keep going at the pace that I'm doing, I'll probably get this. But I also imagine the ranking will be heavily skewed once people reach a plateau based on what their accounts can accomplish, right? They're going to be forced to join other people's battles, and that may or may not be good or bad. I mean, that may be good or bad, right? Because what's going to end up happening is maybe they don't have enough strong characters to beat the content, and then a lot of the people who are completely free to play will most likely start dipping lower and lower in ranking. But I'm guessing light spenders will probably occupy 1,000 to 5,000. The super light minnows, whatever you want to call them, probably occupying this range. I think it's possible, especially if people have units that can really combo well with each other. Like right now, I think the trend is Mediana. 4 Mediana is doing ice damage because the raid boss is weak apparently to ice damage. So you're going to do a lot more damage if you keep chaining using simply blizzard, single blizzard attacks. Or if you chain slash attacks. So you can definitely go in with 4 Orlandos. But obviously you probably would not be doing auto, which a lot of people might not enjoy that concept. But whatever the case is, I imagine try it for this event to try to get some gems out of it. Personally, I also feel like the mock shop offers quite a few good items. Obviously, these two are, in my opinion, top priority. And it looks like 2,000 per recipe. It's kind of rough. I don't know how many items people are getting. I think the top ranking so far, let's go ahead and check it out, because I believe the top ranking players right now on global has 120,000. So at 2,000, that means they can get 60, right? And they still have another week left, or 5 days. So that means, actually no, only 4 days. So that means they can get all of the recipes, and only seemingly the top player, maybe the top 50. Nah, not even top 50. Look how badly it drops here at rank 30. So it'll be very hard to actually get a 5-star ring. Now I understand the raid will, make his return. So my suggestion is just get maybe a few copies of this and try your best to get as many of these guys as possible. I think that makes the most sense, right? Because these you can definitely use right away. This is something you probably need to to build over time. And then the rest of the stuff I would just completely ignore. None of this stuff is worth buying ever. Yeah, none of this stuff is worth buying. Personally, I feel like none of this stuff is worth buying. The pods may be worth buying, but I don't think it's worth. Uh, I guess if you have leftover coin metals and you can't buy anything else, I would maybe buy the pots. But again, number one goal: get the rocks, get the yarns. So overall, I feel like the raid is well done because you have the option to just start soloing on your own. But I think you may get a little bit more points if you actually play with other players because you do get participation rewards. So for example, 2-player participation rewards, you can earn a decent amount, and then challenger rewards, you can get, I think that's the same. Look, if you look at solo, yeah, it's just a tiny bit more. So as the level of the raid boss goes up, which gets pretty hard. I mean, I've seen, so far the highest I've seen was level 88. People have popped up and looking for people to help them. I mean, those, we're talking about some raid bosses with a lot of hit points, right? So I think it's better to seek out other players to help you because you seemingly get more rewards in terms of medals. So as a free-to-play player, I know it's tempting perhaps to run the first few teams by yourself, but it actually may be better to get other people to join your fights because look, you actually do get rewarded more medals. In participation, you get more medals if you do 4-player. Actually, participation is the same, but let's see if victory makes any difference. So level 1 to 50, 4 players. Oh my god, what is going on? Yeah, you do. So you end up getting more medals if you do victory. But I believe it also takes into account who does the most damage to the boss. And they're going to get more medals based on that. So, you know, kind of use your own judgment there, really. If you enjoy playing with others, great. If you don't, obviously just solo until you can't solo anymore. And these gems don't trigger if you beat the boss on your first attempt. The first attempt is always free, so that's kind of nice. Reinforcement, you click here to see if any raids you can join. There are other people. And then end is basically when the battle's over, you want to make sure you collect the rewards. But pretty simple. I think it's well done. I think it's kind of interesting. But the map design itself, I'm not a big fan of. I think it's very simplistic. It seems kind of weak that it's just one raid boss with the 3 little mini minions, I guess. And they're super easy to kill, and I guess they're there to distract you, really, because there's a countdown. If you've been playing, you notice that there's a countdown right on the top corner there of the total number of moves that you're allowed per raid. So clearly, you want to just really go after the boss if possible. So, but overall, I think it's a really good concept, the raiding. You can earn gems out of it. And honestly, if you choose to ignore the raid, I don't think it hurts you either because end of the day, I mean, because I feel like it's a little tedious, right? It's a long grind. But if you choose to ignore it, I mean, you do miss out on some rainbow rocks and some yarns and that one ring recipe. Like I said, if you get 1 or 2, it might be good enough as a free-to-play player, you know? But I think if you're spending money, I think people might feel obligated that they need to grind it out because it is new content and it's something they probably feel like they need to do. But for me, I'm not personally. I feel like even though it's well designed, I'm not a fan. Like I don't really enjoy these type of grinds where it's like I come into the game and I grind nonstop. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. You always have the option to skip it. I know that, but I feel like, you know, as a free-to-play player, you know, throwing this in my face sometimes, because like the same thing occurs in the other gacha games, right? They have these type of raids and they encourage you to play, but then when you start playing, you realize how grindy it is. And I understand this whole game is grindy. You know, don't mistake what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is you have the option to ignore it if so choose. You miss out on some rewards, but end of the day, even though those rewards are very tempting, it takes a lot of hours to grind. And for those folks who don't have a lot of time to be playing this game every day religiously, and their daily routine requires them to just do their normal grinds, something like a raid to throw so much time investment into their normal routine, it might be a little rough, right? For those players who have a lot of time on their hand to play this game, this is nothing new. It's just a little bit more playing time that they have to do during their day. Normally if there's no story modes to grind, or there's not much to do in Farlane, or the events is not that exciting, raiding would be a good option. But I feel like the game has given us tons of events, and then on top of it, they give us this raid. I personally feel like if they're gonna do that, perhaps they shouldn't give us any events, because realistically speaking, not many people can divide all their playing time every day into choosing. Because sometimes, I guess the point is, some people have to choose. Their time is limited, so therefore they have to choose what they do. And there's a saying in Japan: if you do one thing, you put all your mind into one thing, you're gonna do it really well. But if you start splitting your attentions across different things, you're just gonna do a mediocre job on across all those different things you're doing. Maybe it's not the best way to say it, but I think people get the idea because of the Japanese culture. I visit Japan once a year, by the way. It's kind of slowed down now because of the pandemic. But when I go there, I notice that Japanese folks in the culture, they like to concentrate on doing one thing right. When you go to a ramen shop, that's pretty much all they serve, right? You go to a fried pork cutlet shop, that's katsu. That's pretty much all they serve, and they do it so well. You know what I'm saying? You rarely see shops where they serve, all kinds of stuff, a smorgasbord of food in one place. Much like America, we get many places where you can serve like Chinese food, Japanese food, American food all in one place. And that may be convenient in a culture where it's super diverse, like American culture, but in the Japanese culture, clearly it's predominantly Japanese folks, right? So, and their culture is a kind of a samurai spirit type of thing where they really truly believe in doing one thing and dedicating it to that thing. In fact, it takes a sushi chef longer time to become a master chef than it is to become a doctor in Japan. That's serious dedication. Now, obviously, I don't wish people to apply that philosophy to a game, but sometimes you kind of have to do it, especially if you don't have a lot of time. Maybe dedicating all your time to raiding, and then you have to kind of like really just kind of weigh the pros and cons of the rewards, right? The event here currently that is running don't offer a lot of good items, right? To be honest, like it just offers that gun recipe, which if you don't have gunners, is it really worth grinding at this time? Because chances are they're gonna bring this gun recipe back somewhere down the future. I'm guessing. Um, maybe that's a choice every person needs to make. But given the fact that a lot of people are going after Lucia and Frederica, it's an event they really need to do. And then the raid, of course, is giving you another accessory that is really good for your gunners. Sometimes maybe you don't have all that time to do grinding, and in a day you do have to unfortunately perhaps decide. Me, I think what I'm gonna do is just kind of take my time and do as best as I can given the amount of time I have throughout the day. If I don't get what my goal is, I'm not gonna like think too much about it. But like I said, I do enjoy the raid. I think it's kind of a cool thing. Kudos to Square and kudos to Gummy. So, anyways, I think that's it for today. We're gonna maybe do some arena videos later in the week, and hopefully I can get that equipment video out, and that will be the agenda perhaps for this week. In the meantime, I'm gonna have other game reviews coming out this week, so check this out. See, maybe you enjoy those games. Maybe you start playing those games as well. All right. Until next time. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Take care of all your loved ones. Nash Taters out.